Me, I know they see beautiful girl for I. You see, I don't. These are the things that I must keep away from. So please don't bring them. So know your limits and respect your limits. Lessons from my own experience, from scriptures, from experiences of others that helped us and is helping people and can help us to stay away and to overcome temptation in courtship. It is very key and very important and very essential that from the very beginning we ought to have agreement. We need to agree on the rules of the game. What are the do's and the don'ts? Sit her down to agree. As we start, these are the things we do. We don't kiss, we don't touch, we don't peck, we don't do this. We are not alone we don't put ourselves in compromising situations by being alone. We set out the do's and the don'ts of the relationship from the get-go. Someone said some years ago to me, he said, it is not on the day that you are tempted that you prepare to overcome the temptation. You must have decided way before that if this temptation comes, this is going to be my reaction. That way, when the temptation comes, you have a reaction ready in your mind of what you would do. It is not on the day that you see a check that you can change the figure from 1 million to 10 million so that you can corner 9 million to your own pocket. It is not that day that you have a resolution and resolve in your mind not to do it. It is from now that you will tell yourself that no matter what is not yours, you would not take. The same applies to this. Have an agreement from the get-go. And if you're already midway and you don't have the agreement yet, you have not had that discussion with your intended, have the agreement now. Have the agreement now. There's nothing that says you can't press a reset to say, you know what, I've just learned now that we need to set aside ground rules for this relationship. If we want to keep ourselves, want to be holy till the day that we have the license to do everything physical, to show our love to each other sexually, then we need to abide by these rules. The second thing is know your limits. And what do I mean? We have different tolerances. There are things that can make someone else fall, that some other people can still be able to stand. Know your limits and respect your limits. There's nothing wrong with sharing that also with your intended. Sharing that with, tolerances. There are things that can make someone else fall, that some other people can still be able to stand. Know your limits and respect your limits. There's nothing wrong with sharing that also with your intended. Sharing that with, me, I know they see beautiful girl for I. You see, these are the things that I must keep away from. So please don't bring them. So know your limits and respect your limits. This third one is establish and enforce boundaries. Be intentional about it too. You already know your limits. You have had agreements to establish boundaries. Then enforce it. How do you enforce it? You make yourself accountable to each other, such that I got one advice from my mom when we were getting married. I married a pastor's daughter, a senior pastor's daughter actually, and my mom said, hey, you this child, don't go and disgrace us. So you know that your fiance is, our father is Reverend so. Please, so don't. If each of you should be each other's accountability partner. Be accountable for each other. If you feel weak, let her be the one that will hold you. If she feels weak, make sure that you hold her accountable to be holy, to be chaste, and not to cross the line. So hold each other accountable, establish and enforce those boundaries. Those boundaries could include that you would not be alone in places where, in closed rooms, in places where sin can easily occur, in places where you can be easily tempted. And when that is happening, maybe you are visiting an uncle or an aunt, and it looks like the house will be empty and it will only be the two of you alone. Then your established boundaries would mean that time you would also leave, so that you would not put yourself in compromising situations. Okay, this one goes without saying. Watch and pray. We're Christians. The way we get away from temptations, the way we overcome temptations, a cardinal and a key important way for us to do that is by praying, and is by being watchful, not taking things for granted, but by being careful and being prayerful. I think that's on its own, it's clear. Finally, and number 5, guard your heart and your mind. It's essential that you control the things that you feed your mind. The pictures you look at, the videos you look at, the materials that you are exposed to. Unfortunately, in our times, almost everything is sexualized, even sometimes in the church.